Well, ladies and gentlemen, more and more renderings continue to leak out regarding the Tampa Bay Rays' new potential stadium, the cost of it $1.3 billion. These are just updated images. We got the initial first interior image last year, I believe in October. Actually, you know what? I think it was September, late September, the initial rendering came out, and now we finally have more interior shots of what this potential fully domed stadium that does not include a translucent roof, so there could be concerns about a lack of natural lighting on the interior, what this new stadium could look like. Along with an update on where we are right now, they still are in deliberation when it comes to how the stadium's going to be funded, the overall package. The city council still debating that. So it's not confirmed the stadium is happening. They just keep releasing more renderings. A few weeks ago, they released some exterior renderings of what the stadium would look like. And this first one I'm looking at, I'm just going to react to these and then talk about them. And they also do have an article that explains what's going on in these images and kind of how the stadium is going to be set up. Obviously, they are going to swing this stadium by saying it's very intimate, it's got a low capacity. That's kind of the new age in terms of a stadium. But of course, the main reason the capacity is only 30,000 is because there's just not, well, I will say in general, stadiums are getting smaller, but also 30,000 is just such a small amount for an MLB stadium. You would think it'd be at least a little bit more than that. And apparently there is standing room. But this first image, there's a few different things to notice. Number one, you do have some type of, looks like little pool there. I don't know if stingrays are in that. I would imagine not, considering there's like a fountain coming up from it. But so there's a little fountain right there in center field. Behind that looks like you've got some vegetation, maybe some plants that could be part of the batter's eye. And then just looking at behind home plate, obviously the glaring thing, what a ridiculously small upper deck, and this is just the way it's going. And it's weird how above that there's no glass. You would think they would put glass above that to improve the natural light of the stadium, but if you look, the actual natural light is located above that. There's 4 windows, part of that square on top of the roof, that those little slivers, those are all windows that allow natural light to come in. And then it also looks like behind some areas there are windows that allow for more natural light as well. You've got some club sections, it looked like, maybe some suites, things like that. I will say, the back wall of this stadium, I don't know, I'm just surprised they're designing a stadium in the year 2024 that looks like that, personally. It's a lot of dead space. It looks kind of cheap to me. But, I'm just going to grade the stadium how I see it, and that's my opinion on that. The stadium is described as including the use of glass in some upper and lower walls to provide daylight and allow fans to see in and out. A full 360-degree circulation inside with sight of the field from all concourses, a covered porch area outside of the stadium, 365 days a year programming to make the facility and adjacent entertainment district a community gathering spot, and the fan-friendly, intimate design. And so one of the things they were talking about in this article is making the exterior blend in with this new mega project that they're doing. So in essence, the exterior of the stadium, it's going to look more homey, maybe like a neighborhood, not really like a crazy, corporate stadium design like Yankee Stadium or Citi Field. It's not going to have that classic look. It is going to be more of a smaller thing, kind of fits St. Petersburg better, I guess. You can see this next image. You might be thinking this is like the left field window. It's not. There is no left or right field window. So this is dead center field. You're looking in from center field. That's where the window is to this stadium. And presumably, I believe there is seating that you really can't see, like halfway up the glass. Or maybe I think there is seating up there. But yeah, so that is the big window. And then you can see above that there is more natural light. They certainly are trying to fit some natural light into it, but you can just see the exterior of the stadium, how it's incorporated to the actual stadium itself. And they're saying it's going to be open 365 days. They're going to use it as a community gathering spot. The article also mentions one of the noticeable differences from Tropicana Field is how the tiered roof will be low over the seating areas and only high over the field of play. And I mean, obviously, it's completely different from Tropicana Field, mainly because Tropicana Field is a fully enclosed dome, and also the design of Tropicana Field is just ridiculous. And then they also have this, apparently they say, and let me get the capacity right. So the total capacity, the standard capacity is 30,000. So in essence, if The attendance on opening day is 30,000. It's a sellout 100%. However, they do have standing room areas that will extend the attendance and capacity to around 33 or 34K. This is very normal. Progressive Field has the exact same thing. They technically have a capacity of 34K, but they've got standing room areas that could extend it to 37 or 38K, hypothetically giving you, a total capacity attendance of like 110% because you're over the normal threshold of what the actual attendance or what the actual capacity is because of those standing room areas. And apparently with concerts, they can fit around, because you can put people on the field, they can fit around 50,000, and you would think they would definitely utilize this stadium considering what's going to be going on in the surrounding areas, around a $6 billion investment totally, to use this and utilize it as concerts and a venue considering it is fully closed. You do have the roof, and when it comes to stadiums in Florida in general, this is basically standard operating procedure. If they were to build an MLB stadium today, they would not do the same thing that the Miami Marlins did with the retractable roof, which is basically useless and a waste of money. It would either be a translucent roof, or it would be something like this where technically the roof is not translucent, but there's areas above it that really emphasize natural light. Or you could have like a weird design where part of the roof is translucent and the other part is not, like US Bank Stadium for the Minnesota Vikings. There's a number of things you could do, but there's no way they were going to do a retractable roof unless the retractable roof was really small. Even then, it just doesn't make sense because it would barely ever be open. So they're not even trying that, and I'm not sure they have the money for it, but still, $1.3 billion, it's not like this is a crazy cheap stadium. I will say it is on the cheaper side when you look at the comparison to what MLB stadiums are going to be costing nowadays, especially considering this is a dome stadium. If it was just an outdoor stadium, it would probably only be $1 billion, which actually would be very cheap for an MLB stadium. So this is the update on this stadium. These are the renderings. We're at basically the same point that we were when I talked about the updated exterior renderings about a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago. The only difference is they've released more renderings and actual interior renderings that I did want to go over. And the stadium is what it is. We knew. I mean, there were definitely some other cool designs for Tampa Bay. I loved the Ybor City design that they had. It looked like a sweet like dome stingray right next to an inlet. And that would be a much better location, you would think. And I do think, to be fair, that's where the stadium would be planned. I don't know if it would be that design exactly, but if they didn't have this mega project happening in St. Petersburg, there's no way they're designing this stadium right next to Tropicana Field. It doesn't make any sense. But we're starting to get a ton of renderings now. We've probably gotten like 15 to 20, maybe even more different renderings of what this stadium could potentially look like. And while it's not confirmed, we do think it is moving in that direction, although who knows if this gets shot down. I think the Rays, things are going to turn quickly for the Rays. They'll probably be moving because they have tried rendering after rendering after rendering, stadium proposal after stadium proposal after stadium proposal. This could be an Oakland Athletics 2.0. We remember Oakland talking for multiple decades about getting a new stadium. It doesn't happen. Well, now the Rays, they've really been talking for a while, around 10, 15 years, actually maybe even longer than that, considering Tropicana Field has been obsolete for a while now. They did think of maybe adding a retractable roof to Tropicana Field. It doesn't make sense to invest $500 million into that stadium at this point. And so you're looking at a capacity of around 30,000 that is expandable, very similar to what Las Vegas is doing. I'm not sure. Las Vegas's capacity might be around 33 or 34K, similar to Progressive Field, and then maybe it's expandable to 37 or 38,000. It's funny because you take a look at the Orlando Dreamers proposal with the translucent roof in the state of Florida, possibly an expansion team or maybe a relocation team. They have a capacity of 45K, and their design is very interesting. I don't think their translucent roof looks very good. I just think it's just... I mean, I understand it's just, that's what it's supposed to be, but I don't know. It just looks weird to me. It almost looks like you're at the bottom of the ocean in some type of, bubble area or something. I don't know. But we'll see what happens with Orlando. I've said I basically give it like a 5% chance in terms of Orlando getting an MLB team. The only way they could get a team is in a relocation of the Rays. They're just not going to put another team in the state of Florida with the problems that the Marlins and the Rays have both had. But undoubtedly there's going to be a roof. So Either way, guys, that is just the update. More photos. We'll see if this ends up happening with the Rays, but that's going to do it for this video. Make sure you follow me on X. Link to that's always in the description.